Welcome back, everyone. Michael here with Offshore Citizen. Today I'm going to discuss something that is a pretty good tool I recommend to people quite a bit, but also there's some kind of things that you may not know about. And this is more about TransferWise, in particular the TransferWise, or they call themselves now Wise, so wise.com debit card. So this is like a pretty cool card, but I'm going to talk about what's good about it, what's bad about it. And I guess why I bring it up is just because I've been having calls with various different people who they're relocating from their country and they're going to set up bank accounts, etc. And there's usually some problems with certain countries being able to operate internationally. So I'm going to cover for you how that's applicable to you, what things are good about this, whether it's something that's good for you, what's not good about it, or whether it's something else, and we will see from there. So before we do, if you haven't already, please hit the subscribe button, nail the notification bell, make sure you hit the little all thing. I really appreciate your support. Thank you very much. If you like the videos, please share them with your friends, check out our other ones. And if you'd like help with relocating internationally, what to set up abroad, international tax optimization, asset protection, forming companies, opening bank accounts, getting residencies and citizenships, we help you with all those things. Please book a call with me, calendly.com/Michael-Rosmer. There's a link in the description below, or send a message to our websites, offshorecitizen.net or offshorecapitalist.com. Okay. All right, so I've done a previous kind of like review on Wise or TransferWise. I like to call them TransferWise. I don't like they changed their name, but whatever. And talking about it, it's a great service. I like it a lot in certain respects. This being said, they are a little bit risk averse. So there's certainly a spectrum of options under which they're going to say goodbye. And so I don't think that they're great as the only solution, but I think almost everyone should have them as a solution. And the reason for that is super easy transfers, especially in places like, I've got employees in Kenya who I have to pay, and it's normally really difficult to transfer, but it connects with M-Pesa, which is a local payment method. They've got all these local payment methods all over the world, so that makes it really useful. And so, yeah, from that standpoint, I think it's definitely something worth checking out. The customer service is quite good. It's pretty seamless. The process of sending wire transfers, I was going through paying employees and paying some different expenses, and I had to bounce between 3 different payment methods earlier today. And you go from one, which is a traditional big, supposedly robust, fantastic bank. It's just a disastrously painful process to send wires. Then you've got the second one, which is pretty good, not too bad. And then you've got something like TransferWise, which is really excellent. So yeah, that's that. This being said, today we're going to talk about the card, and so yeah, you've got what is it that is cool about this card? Well, first of all, maybe I'll start with who I would normally say comes to me, who this comes up a lot, and this is often people who are relocating from their country. So, for example, I talked to somebody earlier today who's relocating from Canada to Europe, and was asking about setting up bank accounts, etc. And there's this really annoying thing, which is that in Canada, at most banks, you can't do online wire transfers. That's it. You have to go in person. So imagine if you have to go overseas, you can't actually set up new bank accounts in the country that you're going to without being there, without having a residency permit, things like this in many cases. And so how do you transfer your money there? Well, you would have to normally come back to Canada to go in person, to send a wire, it's just it's terrible, right? And various countries have this kind of thing. So I often tell those people, great, go and set up a Wise account, then you can transfer into Wise, and Wise is great for sending money, at least so long as it's not a huge amount of money. And obviously, as you get going, there's other options, but that's at least a decent starting point. The card, on the other hand, is useful in a different sort of way. So if you get an account, you can use this card, and I would recommend for a lot of people who are traveling a lot, this is useful. Now, this is not necessarily useful if you're in your home country, because where it pays off is if you have currency conversions. To be fair, I actually don't use this card that much, and the reason for this is because in certain countries you can get cards that have no foreign transaction fees, and if you don't have that, plus you have points, that adds up to being better in most cases anyway. However, if you're not in that situation, particularly Europeans have no good points cards, etc., then this is a great solution. And yeah, so we'll talk about that. So what is so unique about this card? So it's attached to a variety of different accounts, meaning that if you have money in Japanese yen, then when you use it, it will withdraw in Japan, it will withdraw from the yen balance. If you have an account and you say you have 3 accounts, right? You've got another one that's in euros and you're in Germany, you spend, it automatically deducts from that one. So you don't have to worry about any conversion fees in that respect. Even if you don't have a balance in that, it converts at a very low rate. It converts at basically the way they do it is they give you kind of the mid-market rate, plus then they tack on a small fee. So it works out to be like 0.35% conversion rate typically. So that's very good. So you're going to save money on foreign transaction fees if you're interacting in other currencies. So I like that quite a bit. That's quite helpful. You're not going to do too much better than that unless you have one of these cards that has a foreign, or what do you call it? Like a thing that has no fees, right? You can withdraw cash, but the cash withdrawal limit is pretty low. It's about something like $200 or 200 euros, 200 pounds, something like that a month that you can withdraw before you have fees, which is, you know, okay. Some places you're going to get charged fees everywhere you go, so it's not a bad thing, but it's a pretty low limit. Although to be fair, in a lot of places you don't use cash that much anyway, so maybe it works out okay. However, if you have a local card, you know, like when I'm in various different countries, I have a local card, and that local card I have no fees, so you know it's better off that way. The fee, if you withdraw over and above that, is quite high, 2%. Okay, they charge you a 2% fee, which to me is kind of nuts, right? Imagine you're withdrawing, I don't know, $1,000 a week while you're, you know, in a particular place as a tourist. You know, that's like $20 each time. It adds up, right? So not the most efficient. Their online app is pretty good. You can go and you can lock the card, which is great. I like that. I like that quite a bit. If you were to ever get it stolen, and you can. Sometimes the problem with a normal credit card, of course, is you lose it. You think, oh shoot, I better call and cancel it. Then you find it afterwards. You're like, oh darn it. So here you can actually lock it, and then if you find it, you can unlock it, and you're good. Otherwise, you can order another one. You do have to pay. I think it's like around £5, around €8, something like that, to get this card. It's a pittance of an amount. I'm not too worried about that. That's the least of the issues. The thing that I have found as a little bit annoying, aside from, you know, what I mentioned in terms of these fees, etc., and you know, whether it's competitive with, say, a good credit card in the U.S. or Canada or places like that, is that it's not available in a whole bunch of countries. So it's available pretty much everywhere in the EU, EEA, I would say, including, you know, like Channel Islands and all this kind of thing. It's available in the US, it's available in Australia, New Zealand, Japan, and Singapore, but that's about it. So you can have a Wise account and be resident of, say, Thailand, but you can't get the card. You can be a resident of Canada and you can't get the card. You can be a resident of Mexico and you can't get the card. So there's a lot of places that don't have access to this card yet, which is a little bit annoying, a little bit frustrating when you get it, just kind of like, why should it matter? So that's one thing. And then the thing that that goes along with that, of course, is, you know, this opens up the possibility that maybe you would want multiple residencies. So I've mentioned in some previous videos, I didn't used to, if we went back 5 years, I didn't really recommend people have multiple residencies. I figured multiple citizenships were good. But increasingly, it's useful to have multiple residencies. So if you have a residency in, you know, Cyprus and also in Thailand, you know, you can get it under your Cyprus residency and then have access when you're in Thailand. So anyway, that's just a little bit tidbit. Overall, I think it's a great product, and I recommend Wise or TransferWise as a service for people pretty much across the board. I think if you don't have one, I would go and get one just because it's a useful service. I've used it for years, and it just makes things easier. Be cautious about the risk aversion. They're not crypto friendly. They're not friendly with, you know, a bunch of different things. They have quite a long list that you might not be aware of stuff that's restricted. And I think the card is a nice bonus if you're already using the account, and it can save you a bunch of money. So I tend to tell people to go and get it if they get an opportunity. And so, yeah, that's kind of my little review of the card. I'll probably cover some of the other ones as well over time, and maybe I'll go through and review some of the other banks for you guys as well. But I think it's like a very basic, great option for people. So I hope that helps. If you have any questions about it, put it in the comments below. I'm sure people will also share their own thoughts. And I'm going to look forward to seeing you guys on the next video.